The spirit of Rio must embody the full awareness of the fragility of our planet. The spirit of Rio must lead us to think constantly of the future, our children's future.
Rio Centro, a suburb of Rio de Janeiro, the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development is about to begin. Thousands of diplomats, environmentalists, and journalists arrive for the largest UN meeting ever held. The aim is to seek common action to protect the planet. Over 100 heads of state and government will attend. No wonder it's called the Earth Summit. 20 years ago, the UN Conference on Human Environment held in Stockholm firmly placed the preservation of the planet on the world agenda. In Rio, environment is linked irrevocably to development. Maurice Strong, who organized the 1972 conference, once again accepts the challenge. Celebrities like Brazilian soccer star Pele help draw the world's attention.
Well, I can wear a shirt like you, Pele, but I cannot play football like you.
But we are in the same team here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
The Earth team.
Finally, after 2 years of worldwide preparations, June 3rd, 1992, the official opening. A few miles away, in Rio's Guanabara Bay, another gathering, an unofficial one. The Viking ship Gaia sails here from Scandinavia, bringing 10,000 messages from children of many nations. The messages are added to the wishes of thousands of other children. Here in the Global Forum, non-governmental organizations and environmental action groups hold their own Earth Summit under the symbolic tree of life to monitor the work of the official conference.
Distinguished delegates have said that this is an historical moment. However, it will only be so if the Rio Conference also marks a new beginning for the United Nations system, for action by states, and for the mobilization of all peoples of the world.
We have been the most successful species ever. We are now a species out of control. Our very success is leading us to the dangerous future that has brought us here.
Much of the preparatory work for the Earth Summit is based on a landmark UN document, the Brundtland Report, named after Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland of Norway. Her theme is the need for human development which preserves the environment.
Time is short for us to rectify the present unsustainable patterns of human development. We must eradicate poverty. We must achieve greater equality within and between nations. We must reconcile human activities and human numbers with the laws of nature. We will all be held accountable for what we failed to agree in Rio. For the first time in human history, all over the world, people will be able to closely monitor their leaders at work at a major conference through widespread television and other media coverage.
The eyes and ears of the world are on the Earth Summit as it gets underway. Some 3,000 journalists are expected, but over 9,000 media people are eventually accredited.
I don't know. I don't know.
Jacques Cousteau is one of the many crusaders who attend.
Your attention, the next press briefing will be at 2 o'clock. The Minister of the Environment of Germany. I repeat, the next press briefing will be at 2 o'clock.
For the media, it's the biggest environmental story ever.
I suggest perhaps that the person who has the copies of the treaty go right down to this.
This is the first time ever in history that we've had a meeting of the leaders of all the nations of the earth and gathered to take decisions that will literally determine the future of the earth if we don't do it here, and if we don't allow our common interests to override all these differences and short-term and narrow self-interest issues. When are we going to do it? And will there be time?
Action to save the planet is contained in 3 documents brought to Rio for final negotiation. The first is the Rio Declaration, a statement of principles to guide the relationship between human behavior and the planet. And secondly, Agenda 21, an action plan to redirect economies to sustain the environment into the 21st century and beyond. All areas are covered, from preventing the spread of deserts to reducing poverty, from managing waste to changing patterns of production and consumption. And thirdly, a statement of forest principles, which balances the right to use forests with the need to protect them. Also at the Earth Summit, 2 legally binding conventions recently negotiated by the United Nations are open for signing. The Framework Convention on Climate Change, which seeks to reduce emissions of the greenhouse gases that warm the planet and threaten to raise sea levels, and a Biodiversity Convention, requiring inventories of all living species on the planet and calling for their protection.
These are very fundamental changes that we're talking about. They do not come easily. They particularly do not come easily when they have to be negotiated with 178 nations, and many of those nations experiencing very difficult here and now economic and other pressures.
The main committee reconciles the differences separating the richer from the poor nations. Chairman Ambassador Tommy Koh from Singapore guides meetings well into the night, but there are many stumbling blocks. Among them, how to transfer technology from industrialized countries,